Welcome, everyone. I'm Ping Ho, actually, founder and director of Arts and Healing Initiative. I'd like to welcome all of you to Rediscovering You, Letting Go, Letting Play, and Letting Be. I wanted to say that this program is part of our monthly Hope series, and each session draws on the innate power of the arts to foster mental health and well-being. And if you have previously attended one of our Hope sessions, welcome back. If you're new, thank you for joining us today. We're grateful that you can join us to create, learn, and grow together as a community. Our workshop today is scheduled for 1.5 hours and will be recorded in speaker view to be later shared on the YouTube channel. And whomever is speaking will be seen. Breakout rooms, if we do them, will not be recorded. And we encourage you to leave your cameras on if you feel comfortable doing so, as active participation enhances the experience for all. Feel free to add questions in the chat as they arise or use the raise hand function. Because we can't always see everyone on the screen at once, if you raise your physical hand, we may miss you. However, do know that if we somehow miss your question, we'll allow some time at the end of the presentation to address questions. We welcome emojis and reaction features all throughout the session to foster connection and community in this virtual space. And if you're in need of any tech support, please feel free to message me directly at any time during the workshop. So before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Tongva Nation, on whose home and land the unceded territory of Los Angeles resides. As we're reminded of our environment's vulnerabilities, we hold respect and gratitude for the Tongva people who still consider themselves the caretakers of this land. By their example, we are reminded of our responsibility to our planet and one another. Let's take a few moments to reflect on and honor with gratitude the indigenous communities of past and present on whose land you're joining from today. I will also post a native lands resource in the chat bar where you can find out more about the land that you are on. So today I am thrilled to have Diana Feldman with us. Diana is a board certified drama therapist and the founder of ENACT Inc., which incorporates dramatic play, improvisation, and advanced communication techniques, and has served over 200,000 of New York City's most vulnerable youth. Currently, Diana is president of Dramasol, a consulting and training firm, and has a private practice in New York. Diana is also New York City, to be precise. Diana is also the author of the new book, Stuck in a Role, Releasing Trauma in Youth Through the ENACT Drama Therapy Method. For more about her work, visit dramasol.com. And please join me in welcoming today Diana Feldman.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited that you have all joined, and I'm excited already because I love the music that Ping has put on to get people in that spirit of fun. Um, I'm always grateful to do this work because I'll tell you a little bit about myself. And then, of course, somehow I want to find out about who's in this audience. And I hope that we can, through Zoom, find ways to connect. So, yes, I created a nonprofit in New York that worked with really hundreds of thousands of kids labeled with bad behavior. And this was over 30 years. And so there was a lot of discovery about what lives in all of us, and that actually bad behavior is kind of a expression of unmet needs and sometimes of trauma. So during we had 60 actors and like 14 drama therapists. This was in the urban schools in New York. So we tried to have the actors match the population of the kids that we were working with. And I continue to be as passionate for this work as the day that I started it because I learned so much from being a human on this planet and believing that we're all humans. And so there are a few maybe not, but and so I ENACT closed during COVID, and that was very sad for everyone. So that's why I decided to write a book. And as I was writing this book, I tried to think about, okay, well, one is yes, it teaches the method if people want to learn it. It was used in classrooms, hospitals, therapy practices. But what if people want to use some of these techniques on themselves, right? And so that's what this workshop is going to be, kind of a combination of how do I explore. The workshop is about the roles that we play in life, and how do we explore what's authentic in ourselves, and when are we playing roles, and how do we completely release judgment around it all and experiment with playfulness. And so, whether we're a teacher, we're a therapist, we're a doctor, keeping in mind with this theory that we did actually get a 5-year Ford Foundation to study whether this stuff works or not. And with the book talks about the most difficult cases, kids that were written off, violence, failing. And so we figured, well, if it worked with them, there was an 80% change in affect, in emotion, and behavior, change in the whole classroom and change in the schools. Why can't this work on us? I became interested in that. And then I was challenged, and we'll talk about this, like, oh, really? So you're going to write a book and you don't think you're going to explore your own authenticity and your own roles that you play? I don't think so. So I began the book like 3 years ago. It is my life's work of 30 years, but I had to do a lot of self-reflection, which I want to share with you. But I also want to tell you that from my hypothesis, what was studied is that if you're a drama therapist, you'll look at role as these different parts that people play. I'm the hero, I'm the victim, all these different roles, which I believe and I'm trained in. But in my work with youth and with severe mental health people, and also with anyone, including myself, that these roles are also brilliantly designed to protect us, that they are actually a defense, right? And we know defenses serve us only up to a point, right? But if we want to grow and transform, what is beyond the defense? So the ENACT method happens to use acting to work through the defense so people can find their voice. And what I want to say about this is go as deep as you want. Discover as much as you want. If you're like, I don't think so, I'm just going to observe, that's really fine too. I don't know how I keep turning to Ping to say, I tell people if they don't want to participate, just to say pass. Now, if everybody says pass, then I'm the only one that have to talk the whole time. So I hope you will participate. But it's really fine to pass and then let us know. Again, you'll be invited with me and Ping as my eyes around this to come back in. So is there a way that I can get to know a little bit about you through within, let's say, 3 sentences? Try not to go past that because then it doesn't leave enough time. Just like, first we'll do this and then we'll do it a different way. But who you are, your name, what you do, and what drew you to this workshop. So how are we going to do that?
Diana, we
Yeah.
have almost 50 participants in the room,
So
not all of
that's,
whom you can see.
yeah, we won't get to everyone, but if a few people can popcorn out.
Do you just want literal voice popcorn, even whether people are not on camera? And
Yeah,
even,
anybody
okay,
that want, but we're just not going to get everyone if there's 50 people, but just to get a sense, right?
okay. A sense for what they do or what they,
Yeah, your
okay.
name, what you do, and what drew you to this workshop. So my name is Diana. I'm a drama therapist, and I was drawn to doing this workshop because I believe in art and the power of healing.
Okay.
Anybody else?
My name's Alejandro Gaspar. I am a registered MFT, and I was drawn to this workshop because it sounds interesting. Since I work with kids, I want to have like maybe a different idea of how to get to certain aspects without just traditional therapy.
Oh, great. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
And we have
My name is
Nina.
Nina, and I'm a retired art therapist. And what drew me to this workshop was I worked in a psychiatric hospital for 20 years, and I want to learn for myself how to be more playful.
Great. Thank you.
Alessia.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Alessia from Italy, and I am in the creative arts. I worked in the film industry as a photographer, so I do a bit of everything. But now I'm studying. I decided to study creative arts and health because I want to work more in the community, and I'm also studying how to work with young people and people with disabilities. So yes, that's why I'm here too, to see
Thank you.
how we can, yeah, put
Are you
everything
in
together.
Italy now as we speak?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
love it. Okay.
Hello from here.
Let's get a few more. Just, you see, we can get a sense even if we all don't do it. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Debbie. I am recently left a 30-year career in graphic design to pursue my passion project, which is expressive art workshops. And this is a great opportunity for me to just hear more about healing in the arts. So really grateful to be here.
Great, great.
And Millie. Hi, Millie.
Hi, sorry, I forgot to change my background, but my name is Millie. I work in communications. I'm also a graphic designer for various nonprofits, and I lead mental health support groups for NAMI, which is why I have this background.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I've always loved the arts, and this fall I actually intend to start an expressive arts therapy graduate program. So I just wanted to be here and be in good company. Thanks for
And
having me.
where, if people tell us where you're coming in from, tuning
I'm
in.
in Pasadena.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to?
Is it Laurel? Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Oh, Laurel disappeared.
Hi, I'm
Oh,
Laurel.
Laurel, excuse me.
Yes, I'm Laurel. I'm coming in from Sonoma County, California,
Oh.
and I do Jewish nonprofit events and community building. And I recently left my full-time job to pursue how do I do community building through healing and nature. And so wanted to join this workshop to dive more into different avenues of play to help people connect and heal.
Beautiful. Nature works.
I
That's
think
what-
someone else had their hand up, and we also had a comment from Jeanette. Social worker in New York City, want to incorporate more arts in my interventions daily.
Great. Anyone else? Let's get one or two more and then we'll move on.
Hi, I'm Diana. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
went like this because I'm Diana.
Oh, okay, yes, Diana. That's right. I'm a fourth grade teacher in Honolulu, Hawaii,
Oh,
and I'm an actor, improviser, creative artist. I used to be a drama teacher, but now I teach general education. And so I'm wanting to just reclaim a sense of cultivating creativity in my students and just being more integrated and yeah, living
great.
creatively and teaching creatively.
Aloha. I'm in the middle of New York City, so I wish I was there. Let's get one or two more and then we'll move on.
Hi, my name's Robin. I'm in Los Angeles. I am a theater teaching artist,
Oh,
and I train simulated patients for a medical school.
oh, great.
And yeah, I'm looking for always more ways to bring play in because I believe very strongly in the healing and connecting properties of play.
One more?
Thank you. We have Susanna with her hand up. Is it Susanna?
Yes, Susanna.
Go for it.
I'm currently a social worker intern at USC and doing my internship out of school, but I like to incorporate arts. And right now, what I do is I do free draw and I do like diamond art and different styles of things in order to get kids to relax for therapy
Oh,
and check-in. So I'm here really to learn more on what other things I can do.
Thank
okay.
you.
Can we move
Would
on
you,
here?
yes, would you like the first slide?
What's that?
Would you like the first slide?
Well, in one moment, okay?
Okay.
I just to say, so it's really helpful for me to get a sense of who you are because, you know, I need to watch myself because I tend to go into teacher mode, and this is both about experiencing and not so much cognitive stuff, but I can't help throw in a little cognitive here or there. So I just want to say, one of the greatest things somebody once said to me is, how do you know the difference between whether you're teaching and if people are learning? Are people getting what you're teaching? So it's really, Ping, you reminded me of this when we spoke earlier. It's so much about reading the room, right? I mean, you could teach to a blank wall or speak to a blank wall, but how do you know people are getting it? So there's several ways, but one of the ways is if you observe them moving from being kind of shut down to being more spontaneous, right? That means they're tapping into something. They're not just answering by rote, right? Um, the engagement is just so important, and that's where we have to always remind myself about fun and play, and what is play? Kids are naturally born. There's so many studies being playful. They just are. You don't have to teach them to play. And, I work with a lot of kids that I do have to work with on play because for whatever reason, that part of them was shut down, right? So, what I want to say is whatever it is you do, be real, meaning don't worry, like, am I doing the technique right? It's like, am I feeling into this? Is the person responding? Is there play in the room? The other thing with kids is that, if you're working with groups, you can see whether the group is contained, meaning that they're all like not spontaneous and they're not expressive, or they're completely expressive. And sometimes with kids, you got to look and go, okay, I need to do more containment stuff to get them to even do the exercises. They're all over the place. Or if they're, so contained, which a lot of adults are, it's more about helping them find the play. This workshop is going to be talking about the roles that we play. And since as a defense against what our playful self is. But what I just want to say is because I heard a lot of people work with kids, I will throw in here some exercises that you can take with you right away and do. All right. So I'm going to do a game called the weather game. And it's simply a metaphor. And with anybody, any age, any whatever, except real little, using not direct, tell me about yourself. That can be very intimidating. So with kids, we use a lot of metaphor, right? And I'm going to use the weather as a metaphor. So this is how the game goes. You can either be a weatherman and put on a role, or you can just say, hi, I'm Bill Monaco, or use your real name. You can use a fake name. My weather today is, right? And I'm going to give you an example. I woke up, it was raining and pouring, it was dark in the sky, I heard thunder, I didn't want to get out of bed. I was like, oh my God. And then suddenly I saw the sun pop up and the sun started to clear and it became a beautiful day, right? So what does that tell you about me through my through my weather? Can somebody just, what did I just tell you about myself?
How
You
you been
woke up.
feeling?
Yeah. Instead of me going, hi, my name's Diana, and it was really shitty this morning, and I just felt terrible, and then I felt bad. I'm saying it through the weather. Okay. So that's the game. Again, because there's a lot of people will popcorn out whoever wants to do it. So you're going to do your weather report. Okay. However, I'm adding something to this exercise. When I usually wait, but because we're time sensitive, when somebody says like it was thundering out, then everybody does the thundering. It was raining, it was cold. Embodiment is so important for healing. It's it's what everyone in the trauma world talks about. They call it bottom up healing. It's through the body. So as someone speaks, and Ping, can I put you on the spot to
Oh,
start?
sure.
And this way you guys can watch. So when Ping says something we can embody, let's do it. So Ping, what is your weather today?
Oh, my weather began as very foggy. And then I took a brief nap and it became partially sunny.
Partially. And
Partially sunny. And
how,
then I met with you on Zoom and it became very sunny. Yay.
yay. Let's give Ping a hand. I always clap after people, right?
We can
Okay.
do this
Oh,
clap if you
this,
want
because
to.
we
Yeah.
won't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get it, right?
Okay.
So let's ping pong, and pick some people, and whoever wants to go, just jump right in there, but let Ping know so she.
And did somebody have a question? I feel like I saw somebody with their hand up. I could be wrong. Okay, no.
Remember, you can all pass, but if you do, then we don't get much.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Okay, Alessia.
Okay, so I'll go. My morning started with a lot, like a bright sun, a super bright sun. The sky was blue, it was amazing. I was just running in the fields, and then suddenly the weather got a bit darker. The clouds came in. The clouds came in and started to feel a bit low and under a bit of pressure. And so I just started to cave. And then at a certain point, it's like I could see a little ray of sun. And through that ray of sun, I felt more stable. And I just took refuge in that. And I stay in that little ray, just trying to follow that.
Beautiful, the little ray.
Yes,
Beautiful. Thank you, Alicia.
thank you.
And remember, you can use a fake name. You don't even have to say my weather. You could say the weather. So you have a lot of options about how close you want to get to your personal self. Who else we got?
Is it okay if I can go next?
Please do.
Okay, so I'm Alex. Um, yesterday's weather was very stormy. Towards the end of my day, it was very stormy, very like storms and stuff like that. I got home and I saw my little nephew, and he kind of made like seeing him made all of this just calm itself, like the clouds were still there and playing with him and everything, like the night got to be clearer and clearer, and I felt really good, very calm and very relaxed. Just hanging out with him. I guess that helped because this morning the weather was beautiful and shiny and brightful. So that was my weather from yesterday to today.
Oh, how beautiful. Thank you. What do you do? Thank you. one note and we'll keep going. So, this exercise, depending on if you're a therapist, if you're a teacher, go as far as you want, meaning you can keep this in mind. Whenever you're comfortable or you think the person is comfortable, you can use curious inquiry. Like I might say, oh, what do you think it was about your cousin? Or, oh, I'm curious. What do you think? And if you don't want to, don't, right? Therapists can take this exercise a lot further, right? Or it's just like a fun exercise. All right. Let's get someone else.
Aubrey has your hand up.
Hi, I'm Aubrey. When I first woke up, I felt just gray clouds around me. It felt very, very heavy and just kind of pressing in. The gray clouds felt like they were pressing in on me and just very heavy. And then it started to rain. The rain came down, and then the rain continued and continued and continued. And and then it cleared. It cleared up, and I walked outside and I saw that the sun had come out. And so I took some time and just sat and paused and breathed and just breathed in the sun and sat still in the sunlight.
Beautiful. Let's get two more.
Laurel has her hand up.
Hello, it's actually Weatherman Bill, but thank you for asking.
Oh, Weatherman Bill.
Oh, Weatherman Bill.
Hello, the weather today has been really tumultuous all week. There's been storms going all over the place. There's been hail, there's been sunshine, there's been thunder, there's been lightning. And then the clouds keep parting, and then sun arise for just brief moments. The sun keeps coming out, but then all of a sudden, back to lightning, back to thunder, back to hail and rain and clouds. And it looks like the clouds are starting to part, and that the sun is hopefully going to stay in the sky just a little bit longer.
Beautiful. Thank you, Weatherman. Let's have one more, if there is one more. No? Okay, good. It had its natural closure. So let's just take a deep breath and check out how you feel after that exercise. Do you feel stressed? Do you feel safe? Did you feel on the spot? So I do not have a chat, but normally I would break you out into groups, but I think we're not going to break out into groups. If you could put in a chat or something, how you felt with doing this exercise.
That would be wonderful. I can read some of them. And we had two questions, Diana.
I just
Oh,
don't have the chat.
One of them is, as a therapist, we can use this as a check-in to see how our clients are doing in the beginning and ending of our sessions. That's the first question. And the second one is, can you do this with a 3-year-old?
Okay. First question is easy. Yes, of course. I do it all the time. And I monitor how deep I can go. Like oftentimes, if it's a therapeutic setting, I'm building trust. And until that trust is built, I keep it more playful and more distanced as I get to know the clients and I can tell that they feel safer. I'll use it more as an assessment and say, oh, I'm sorry. Did something happen today that made the clouds, or what happened to make it lift? The 3-year-old. I think it's a little developmentally above them, but you can do the body part and you could speak it. And if it's not, I mean, you'll know your 3-year-olds, but you can teach them. This is sunny. This is rain. This is lightning. Let me know. Which one do you feel today? Sunny? No? Raining, show me which one, like that. So you're kind of guiding it more because they're so little, but that's what you do. You see at what level they can do it. You know, little children are not as cognitively minded. So they're much more movement. We can learn a lot from children. I hope that answered your question.
And Diana, would you like to hear some of the comments that people
Sure.
gave? So one, Susanna said, I'm very auditory, so I will listen more and observe to learn. Laurel says, seen. Natalie, lighter, humorous. Millie, lighter. Susanna, safe, and it was great to model. Christina, lighter. Patricia, connected. Aubrey, calm and validated. iPhone, I feel better. Robin, more connected, more relaxed. Goretti, my students would love this. Sarah or Sarah, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I feel sad that I'm not being playful these days. Alessia, I felt safe and lighter, much lighter, as if I didn't need to tell exactly what happened in the day because what matters is how I felt. So it's putting more focus on the feelings instead of the actual causes. It's easier to talk about it. Charlene, it feels safer to describe my situation in this way. I love it. So fun. Debbie, joyful, felt a part of the group. Judy, I like this exercise for therapy groups. And Emily, I love this activity as a student art therapist. We adapted the prompt to ask a client to draw their emotional weather pattern. I like
Beautiful.
the incorporation of hand gestures as well. And Lori says, great energy. Alejandro, it was fun to describe my feeling in an alternative way.
What great comments. See, now that really helps me as the person that's running this because here's what I heard. I heard safe, right? Now, my goal as any group leader's goal is for their clients, their participants to feel safe, right? So the last thing you want to do is do an exercise that makes them feel unsafe in the beginning. You also, someone I think said validated and seen. For those therapists out there, when we use the terms validated, seen, acknowledged, do you know what category that goes under therapeutically? I'm getting a little too heady here, but it's attachment. It's attachment.
And isn't it also called validation?
Validation just means, yeah, I feel seen for what I'm feeling, right? And so like a big thing in the therapy world is attachment. And attachment is all about feeling seen, heard, and validated. Now, can you figure out what made you feel safe? Because that's the number one. Like if you walk away with anything here, you're not going to be able to be playful unless you feel safe. That is for sure. So what made you feel safe?
The non-judgment feeling, like feeling not judged.
What made you feel not judged?
Because everybody was doing the same, sharing like me.
Okay, that's good. Non-judgment. Yep. What else? What else made you feel safe?
For me, I mean, I've been working with my agency for a while, working with kids. So for me, what makes me feel comfortable doing this is kind of putting my empathy for the kids because sometimes I ask them to do stuff that they may not be normally able to do. So I usually my mantra is I can't tell you to do it if I don't try it myself. So for me, doing these types of exercises really helps because it gets me to be that vulnerable as they might feel when they come into my sessions and they see this total stranger who's going to talk about feelings and stuff. So,
You are.
so
Yeah.
to me, it's like I need to be playful because I need to also understand my client's perspective. Like all the adults around them don't understand them. Here comes this short, chunky guy and like somehow knows about video games and stuff. So to me, that's what helps me anytime I'm in these types of workshops or trainings to be engaged and playful and stuff.
Great. Great. Anybody else?
Susanna has her hand up.
I think for me, just listening to everybody describe a story and how it was acted out so differently, like watching everyone But again, like how they were saying was the non-judgment and just being able to feel like relaxed during that time versus feeling tension or stress of like myself having to act it out. But um I feel like it's learning because that like our last person said, you have to be able to do these things with even the younger kids, and um you want to be able to relate to the age group that you're working with.
Right, right. How did you guys feel about being repeated, being joined in your movements? Was that a good feeling? A bad? I see thumbs up, Alicia. Why was it a good feeling?
It was beautiful. I loved it because it felt like um, the people in the room were listening to my story, first of all, because they couldn't repeat unless they were really understanding what I was talking about. And it made me feel also as if they could relate to what I was saying because they were able to create
Mirror it back. We mirrored it
mirror
back.
back. So it means that they could relate to that. They could make something of what I was saying for themselves. So that felt really good. Felt a
That,
shared place.
so that's what we're talking about as far as feeling seen and heard and validated. That makes you feel safe. That's attachment. Anybody else? Anybody feel not safe or not wanting to do it, which is always fine too. All right, so I say, why don't you play with this game? Um, I have a lot of these kind of games in my book. So just to say, like if you want to just learn a bunch of tools, but just know that all the tools are about feeling safe because you can't feel playful or spontaneous, right? If you don't feel safe. Okay. So, oh, the other thing I was going to tell you is when you repeat as a group, we call those unison exercises. And unison exercises make you feel the most safe. Do you notice, like, don't we feel a little more warmed up to each other now? A little more connected? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that
We
is?
feel like we're all part of the group. Like the exercises help because it kind of open that like door that we may have that keeps us safe. So now we engage with each other and stuff like that, even though we're with each other.
So whenever I leave a group, the two questions I ask myself are, did the group feel connected? Because another thing about allowing yourself to feel playful and joyful is it has to be a connected space of belonging, right? Once you feel that you're part, that's why we often work in circles, right? Or I know Ping, your beautiful work with the drums, it's unison, you're doing it together, you're doing it in community. So, think about the activities that bring people together in community and not on the spot, particularly with teens who suffer with a lot of shame. Okay? Before I move on, any questions?
I have a quick one.
Okay.
You
I don't
said there
see.
were two questions you ask yourself after every group.
Yes.
Did you say what the second question is? I missed it if you did.
Okay. I don't know who's talking. I'm so sorry.
My
But
name's Mike. That's fine.
oh, I see Mike. Hi, Mike. No, the two questions that I ask myself are, did this group feel, was there a sense of belonging in the group? Was there a sense of community? Right? And then did the group feel safe? I always ask about safety myself. And I ask that throughout doing a workshop because I'm not going to move forward with an exercise and I asked in the beginning of the group, is it teaching too? How do you know you got it? Well, mine is it safe? That's how I know they're going to be ready to learn, whatever it is I'm teaching.
Thank you
Okay,
very much. Very helpful.
sure. So I want to stay true to what the workshop is about. And as I mentioned in writing this book, so here I came up with this theory of kids play roles as defenses. So, but what are they defending against? So authenticity is a word that gets thrown around a lot. And it's like what's authentic to some people is not authentic to other people. So it's a little bit loaded question. There's a wonderful therapist who has done tons of work, Gabor Mate, around authenticity. So I think, what is authenticity really? What are like, how do we know if someone's being authentic or if we're being authentic? Right. So can I ask you guys to write it down, to take a minute? I want you to think about what does say it 10 times, authenticity mean to you? And how do you know if you're being authentic and if other people around you are being authentic? Just take a few minutes to jot that down so we can discuss it. Because before we're going to discuss role, we have to discuss what's underneath. Take like 4 minutes, 3 minutes. Oh, I see the slide. Yay. Okay, good. And even if some of you are still writing, can I get somebody to read these 3 quotes that you see up here that I now see, thank God, on authenticity? Or 3 different people, but somebody read the first one.
I can read one.
Okay.
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment.
That's pretty powerful. Because when we talk about role, we're going to talk about it is often a social role and it's fitting into what you think other people want you to be for various reasons. And we're going to talk about that. Waldo Emerson, right on. Can somebody read the second one?
I'll read it. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung.
Jung, right? Another genius brain, right? Why is that a privilege anyway? Do you think? If somebody
I think when you finally achieve that, when you finally do achieve becoming who you truly are, it becomes a privilege because it may have taken you so long to get there to begin with. So now it's a privilege. Like you finally feel like I reached my goal.
right. For some people, it's not a goal, right? Some people, it's to get a lot of things or whatever, but eventually find out that the true, I believe, the true fulfillment is growing into, who you are. But how do we know that? Can somebody read the third one?
I can read it.
Oh, I see
Um,
the chats too. I'm so happy. Uh-huh.
the authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Brené Brown. Hopefully,
Brene Brown.
Brené Brown.
Yeah. These things are easy to say.
Yeah.
How do you do it? So, does somebody want to volunteer what they wrote about authenticity? A few people just to say spit it out, and then we'll talk about it.
What authenticity means to me is being
Yeah.
able to be myself in any setting.
How do you know what yourself is?
Huh. I think that was the second question, right? Uh,
Sorry.
um, I know that
Yes.
I think I'm being myself because I feel comfortable saying and doing what I do. I feel comfortable to know that I can mess up, and I also feel comfortable to like sometimes speak my mind and know that I am speaking what I feel I'm speaking without that fear of judgment. Even though it will be there, I will not let it stop me from expressing who I am or what I stand for.
Beautifully said. And I just want to point out that as we speak, you'll hear the word feel a lot. You know, Gabor Mate, this, great writer who's written many books, but the Book of Normal or the Myth of Normal is like your body, or the book The Body Keeps the Score. Your body knows if you're being authentic. Your gut feeling. Gabor talks a lot about your gut. Is it like tight and like, oh my God, I'm sorry, your gut is one of the ways you know if you're authentic. And like you said, Alejandro, like not only what other people are judging, are you judging yourself is the biggie. Anybody else?
I'll share. I personally think for me, when we look at situations of, say, youth that come from broken homes or come from situations, trauma, rape, um, sex trafficking, different situations. Me being a domestic violence survivor, being married to a narcissist, I
Mm.
never had a voice. I didn't know who I was. For 30 years, I just did what I was told so that I wouldn't die. And so when you finally reach this and you start to look at who you really, really are, it comes down to, what do I even like to drink? What do I like to do? What movies do I prefer? What books? Like, you start to view life like, wow, I never really knew who I was. And all of a sudden, your eyes are open to so many possibilities of discovery. And, I wrote a poem called The Broken Butterfly No More.
You
And
want to say it? Do you want to read it to us?
oh, it's kind of lengthy. I'd have to pull it up,
Oh,
but I will. But I
you
know
can.
we're on a timed, but basically, I knew where I was going. I came from a great home. I had parents with PhDs, and that's all part of my poem, that where I was and where I ended up, and now where I've come back to. And so now,
Beautiful.
that's what the butterfly poem is about. But so I feel like sometimes we don't know because of trauma. Sometimes we don't know because what we thought was supposed to be the world we trusted as kids, like as kids, kids trust full-heartedly.
I
What
know.
you tell them is what it is, and so it's like, I take that very personal, of like very to heart, because we're forming little lives. And somewhere along the line, if they get broken, their authenticity gets distorted. And so for me, it's like, now in my 50s, I'm coming to know who I truly am. And that's why I say it is a privilege.
That's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I also worked, my work is a lot around trauma and role and how we play these roles as a defense. And what's so tragic to me is that kids in schools get in trouble for having bad behavior. It's not bad behavior. It's an accommodation to their trauma. It's a role to protect that little authenticity. And our job, for is to protect our own authenticity first. We can only get better at this work by doing it on ourselves, right? So you are discovering how exciting, sort of in a way, maybe you wouldn't have wished it happened, but how exciting that you can come to this discovery. Many people never do it. So thank you so much, Susanna, for sharing that. I see Aubrey putting up hearts. How come?
I'm vibing with what's being shared. And it's true if you come from a traumatic background, authenticity is very unsafe. I mean, you can't share yourself, or if you share yourself, it's with great risk.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I'm just resonating with what's being
How
shared.
many of us can resonate, including me, with not being able to really express your authentic self? It's most of us, right? I mean, um, in the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which I highly recommend, he talks about what's called developmental trauma, meaning that it starts in childhood, and there are very few of us who haven't had it at some level. Okay, so we can all relate to it, even if we weren't raped or held at gunpoint, right? But imagine now you're working with somebody in addition, right? So, how can we protect our inner child, our little authentic self, and help others to explore it? And one of the ways is simply through play. And it breaks my heart when I work with children and adults. I run drama therapy groups who it doesn't break my heart more with the children, but that just can't be spontaneous, right? Because it wasn't safe, right? So in our work, we want to make that safe. We also want to make it contained so it's not going bananas. We can go bananas for a while, but bringing it back. Anybody else want to share?
Um, I'll go. I mean, some have been said already. Being true to myself, my feelings. Don't do something, for example, don't do something, for example, if I don't feel like it, not having to please, follow my instincts and my values when they feel connected to my instincts. And also not feeling guilty if I do or say something that someone else that doesn't please someone else, but it feels right to me.
Okay, and
Always
remember,
in respect.
sorry, you use the word feel, you use the word connected. Again, the body keeps the score. We know. All right. I want to move on to the next exercise unless somebody's burning. I can't. I'm like blind again
There's a
here.
question in the chat bar. What happens if my authenticity is unsafe? Do I rely on other people's compass?
First of all, whoever wrote that, thank you, because that's a really honest question. Now, would that person be willing to say who they are so I can ask them a question? You don't have to. Okay. I would just say this, that I'm still discovering in my 60s my authenticity. I mean, it takes people a lifetime. And what I would say is if you can't trust your authenticity, there's a good reason for it. And that's okay. And I would play with it. And you could ask other people how they feel, right? But to have the goal of how does this vibe with me? Am I comfortable with this? And then it's like, you have to be your biggest ally because it means that if you don't know, you're not in the habit of being your own ally. I don't know if that answered the question, but I hope it did. So let's talk about role finally. So roles are based on society's expectation. My background is as an actor, right? So I think of roles as characters, right? But these are the three areas. Roles are defined, they're based on society's expectations. Roles are relational. They only exist in relationship to another. Like, for example, a parent's role matters in relation to the child. And there's something I didn't put in the slides, which are most families, whether they're aware of it or not, put people, it's called a given role. And I should have put that, I meant to, but a given role is like, were you the silly one in your family? Were you the funny one? Were you the angry one? So I want you to take a minute to write down, um, were you the smart one? Were you the talented one? Were you the stupid one? We are given roles in our families. I mean, I just was working with a mother and her child, and when I went in the elevator, she literally said to me, "Oh, yeah, she's the smart one. The other one is like the flub up kid." And I'm like, "Really?" So we're given roles. Huh? Um, so one thing is to, we don't have enough time, and this is like enough time to go through your things, but these are things, if you write them down, you can go back and revisit them. And you can even, if you don't know the answer, just write it as a question. Was I given a family role? Now, the question is, did you buy into it? Here's what I discovered about myself when I wrote this book. I was always, what I realized in my family, I was the funny one. I was the clown. I was also the fixer for some reason. I could always fix the washing machine when it broke or whatever. But I held on to that role. And in the beginning of the book, I talk about a very extreme car accident that I had. And that role actually helped me because in the short term as a defense. I laughed about this accident. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair and I laughed about it. I made fun of it. It was like I clowned around about it because that was how I got through it. Because if I was my authentic self and I realized that my legs were broken and I don't know if I'll walk again, which I did and I'm fine, but like, remember, never rip a role away from someone. They often hold on to those roles. It took me years to look what was under the role, which was that it was too painful. What was underneath that, I was very badly injured. So when you see in a classroom the class clown, when you see the bully, it is a role they are playing, in my hypothesis, against what they may be deeply feeling. That's why we often hear about these comedians, these great comedians who have these tragic stories, who've died, who've killed themselves. They're playing the comedy role because they're not really owning what's underneath. It's too hard. So even though we're going to be exploring our roles, it is with the greatest respect that we interview and we are curious about our roles. If you want to learn methods, again, it's in the book to work with people, but it's that not like, oh, he's just the clown, he has bad behavior. It's like, oh, he's the clown. I wonder what's going on behind that mask. Okay. So, in as a drama therapist, one of the things we learn in our theory is that people play many roles. Okay. I'll give you an example. I'm a drama therapist. I'm a dog owner. I'm an aunt. I'm a singer. I'm an actor. Okay, so we have multiple roles. And what we look at in drama therapy is that if you hold on to one role, like I was an executive director when I ran my nonprofit, I just viewed myself as an executive director. Like, what happened to all my other roles? We believe mental health is that you're able to move through lots of different roles. There's no judgment. We're all these things, all right? And roles are relational. So people will often, you're the executive director, they'll treat you as the executive director. And that's okay to be the executive director or the worker in that role, in that place, but not all the time. Don't let that define you. You're many things. So now, if you could take a few moments, one we wrote down, if you can think of it now, these can all be looked at later. What role were you given in your family? What was your given role? And did you play it out? Why do people play out? Somebody throw this in the chat. Why would somebody play out the family role that they're given? Why? Very important question. To fit into the family. Yes, to fit in to the family. Why else? It's a system, right? To be loved and to be noticed. You're afraid of disappointing people. Protection, conditioning. Okay, think about these beautiful answers. I go all the way to love. To me, it's all about love. We all want to be seen, heard, and loved. Okay, so you want me to be the silly, stupid one, and I'm going to get attention for that? I'm going to get seen for that? I'll play the silly, stupid one. But is it going to serve me 30 years later? Maybe not. So the next question is how long did we hold on to that role? You don't have to answer these now. We will have time to share out a little, but do you still play that role? And is an acceptable role? That's fine. Or can you let that role go because it doesn't serve you anymore? My book, which is called Stuck in a Role, I assert that being stuck in a role means that the patterns that you have become rigid identities, and they're not even conscious, even when they don't serve us anymore. We're still the angry one because we had to be. We're still the clown because we had to be, consciously or unconsciously. But when the role overshadows your authenticity, your true self, and you keep repeating these roles, you're limiting your own growth. And that was a study of the 60 classrooms that the Ford Foundation did on the kids that were playing these roles. They were the same roles. The bully played for 3 years. The victim was for 5 years. Are you still playing those roles? And how important it is to hold on to them? Do you feel like you won't be loved if you are not that role? Or can you let go of that one and try on another? Again, in the ENACT work, we try on different roles, but you can do it different ways. So I'm going to pause on that before we get to emotional and psychological trauma. But I made the statement earlier that often emotional and psychological trauma, you do not feel safe being your authentic self. In fact, you may be hurt. So what role can I play? We see, what have you seen? Can you just put them in the chat of kids that you work with, yourself? You could call it behavior. In the roles, I call it the angry one, the bully. In the chat, can you throw out different roles that you've seen, either in your family, in the people you teach or work with? Just throw it in the chat. The aggressive one. Yes. The quiet one. Yes. The easy one. The cautious one. The kids that, oop, can you go back? I missed that. Oops. All right. The caretaker. The sad one. The rebel. So, how are these roles serving them? And what happens is, like in the classrooms that we studied, they're getting a lot of attention from the other kids, the clown, the rebel. They're getting the love they want, even if it's negative from the teacher, but they're being seen and heard. So the roles are serving them in some ways. We could take a minute if you're comfortable, you know, to share out anything you discovered about a role you may have played, roles of kids that you've worked with, or roles that of people you know. But for time's sake, try like maybe no more than 5 sentences. You don't have to sit there and count, but because this can go pretty deep. Does anybody want to share it? I shared out that, I grew up as I was the clown, and then that clown, I got a lot of attention from my family, and then that clown became a good defense for me around discovering and protecting myself from the physical and emotional harm that I went through with being hit by a car. Anybody else want to share out what they may have come up with? It's hard to do this in a big group.
If it's okay for me to share, sorry, I'm sharing a lot, but if it's okay for
No,
me to
please.
share, I mean, I had multiple roles in my family. I remember that, and it really stunned me. Like you said, it stunned having these roles really does stunt the personal growth of one. So it took me a while to get over that. And I started noticing that more like, countertransference for clients and stuff. So I noticed that a lot with my clients, where I was like, huh, this story sounds very familiar. It wasn't until I went to my own therapy and I process my own stuff that I realize, wow, like these things can stick for a long, long time. So one of the main more common roles that I see where a lot of my clients is either they're the bad kid in the family or they're the perfect kid in the family. Like there is no gray area. And it's really hard for them to even like be their authentic self. So like that's why in my sessions I try to like tell them this is the one place where you can be like you want to curse, go ahead and curse. Just not too loud because someone will hear us. But like be who you want to be here. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to share? I know it's kind of personal, so if you don't
I-
want to.
I'll I'll share because I also have a question with it. So I was always identified as the serious one, the smart one that studies, uh, and also the one that takes herself too seriously. And I never believed though in that. I have to
Oh,
say, I was always like, I knew it wasn't, and I was trying to be a rebel about it. Like I always said, no,
wow.
it's not. And instead of becoming a rebel for them, I will become a complainer or someone that, doesn't just takes herself too seriously. So I would never be able to get out of the role, even though I didn't believe it, and I was
Explain it
rebellious
different.
against it.
That's
Yeah.
such a great insight, you know? I mean, thank you. I wish I had thought about that while writing the book. But one of the things that we do when we do interactive workshops is we have people play out different roles they want to be, roles because there's many parts of ourselves. You might very well have a rebellious part of yourself. That's a very healthy part of yourself that needed to do that at the time, right?
Mm.
So, but that's really interesting. You use the role in kind of defiance against the role you were given. How is it received?
It's like they wouldn't listen, they weren't able to see it or listen to it, and they would change it to, oh, she just takes herself too seriously, because I would get
Again,
angry about that. So, yeah.
yeah, see, this is where role play is so great because you can do this with people. That's very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Of course.
Nina has their hand up.
Nina?
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I had a couple of roles, which the one that I've had a hard time giving up is the caregiving role that's disguised also by its need to control things in order to feel safe.
Hmm. Can you go a little bit more into that if you're comfortable?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. so my mother was a depressive and she was on medication. And so I started out with being this comedic. I was the third child and I was unwanted. So that it just, in that rebellious kind of thing, uh, I was like, nope, I'm going to be the funny one. I'm going to be the one that she, is grateful for because I'm the one that makes her laugh. And turns out I fulfilled that role, but at the cost of my own emotional, like allowing myself to be happier than her own depression was. Yeah.
That's very insightful, Nina, and thank you for that,
Mm.
for sharing that so openly. You know, do you know who Gabor Mate is? Do you know his work?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm a therapist, so I
So,
worked in the
Nina, you know,
psychiatric hospital for years,
there you
and
go.
I've gone to hear him speak. Yeah.
You know, he talks about that he doesn't call it a role, but that the one that is the good one, really, I call it the good one, right? The caretaker. That they often go along, not always, but they often he has studied join in chronic illness so that you'll see maybe people with asthma or MS or other kind of chronic illnesses. He does studies about that, and I'm working with a guy right now who does have MS, and he realizes that that was the role that he played, and we're working on him playing a lot of other roles. Like he is doing it to save his health, really. And so his work, Gabor's work is very interesting around that. Um, doesn't mean like, oh my God, I have a chronic, not like that at all. It's just something interesting to note that the good one often physicalized, it's somatic, it becomes in the body.
And in terms of referring other people as well, because yes, Gabar is amazing, but if you've heard of Joe Dispenza, Dr.
Oh,
Dispenza's
sure.
work,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's an incredible resource for that
Yeah,
mind-body connection and how our psychology affects our physiology. And
of
he's
course.
doing such wonderful research-based work. So highly recommend people check him out. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's on YouTube. Amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Can we get one more? And then we have 15 minutes, and I want to make sure we do a good solid closure because there was a lot that came up. Does somebody else want to share like a last
Hi,
thing?
this is Diane again.
Hi.
Hi. So I don't know that I have the complete insight right now, but just to talk through at least two roles that I'm aware of. So when I was in school, I was a really successful student. So I was like student body president, on the honor roll, like winning awards through um, my speech and debate competitions, and just really got to an elite college and was really just very successful in an outward way. And one thing that I'm aware of in my role as a teacher is like my voice is so much about being a hard worker, being disciplined, like following the rules, um, and like being very committed to and just directed. Um, and it's interesting that it doesn't leave a lot of room for play, even though the part of me that I've been able to find somewhere in the middle is very playful, very expressive, like very um, more intrinsically driven. Um, so yeah, there's some kind of dichotomy there about doing things intrinsically versus doing things for outward
Right.
acknowledgement.
And remember, right, we're allowed to have a lot of roles. that role served you. You went to a great college, you went, maybe you got a lot of attention from your family, but what other roles serve you? You don't have to answer that yet. We will in the closure. So, it's really good to examine these different roles. One more, just because it's so fascinating. Anybody else?
Laurel had her hand up earlier. Did you want to speak?
Sure, I'm happy to. The role I always played was, as you would say, the good one. I was always, my parents still say it to this day, you're the easy one, you're the friendly one. Um, Also like the youngest of three, all like within, yeah, 3 years of each other. So my role, it served me a lot because I got a lot of positive praise and attention, but it didn't allow me at all like to feel sad. If I was ever sad or upset, I just like had to hide it because like if I was dysregulated, then how is everyone else going to be regulated? Because I'm the happy, easy, kind one. And so developed chronic pain and like different autoimmune things and had to start exploring like, I don't think this role of never ever feeling a sad emotion is serving me. And I actually did and give it to my family, but I did a practice of like releasing my roles and like literally resigned from my role in the family. And am no longer like when my parents like, how are you? Like I used to be like, I'm good no matter what. And I'm like having a hard day. And just like that small change has made such a shift.
Wow, that's deep. A clap. How do you clap? Clap, 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 clap. Yeah, interesting to explore, not now, obviously, but like when someone changes their role in the family, it's like a domino set, when you have dominoes lined up and then one person changes that could knock the other dominoes off. It'd be interesting because families are systems. How do other people in the family deal with it? It might be like, oh no, now I have to look at my own sadness. So there's a lot to look at. I do want to make sure that we have time to do this closure. Yes.
We should start now because we also need a few minutes at the end for the
Uh-oh.
survey and
All right,
everything. So,
then we'll do it in unison. Um, Always go to unison when you don't have enough time, okay? So basically, we'll have a few. We'll have 3 or 4 call outs, and then we'll do the rest in unison. I'll show you. We're not getting rid of, we don't want to get rid of anything. All roles served us. We want to put it aside. So I'll show you the exercise. It's like, I am going to put aside one of my roles as the clown. I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to take on a new role, or I'm going to own the role of the artist. I'm going to own that role. So if we were doing it, we would create a big box, but let's just have 2 or 3 other people. So you're setting us, oh, and let's everybody set it aside together. So setting aside and taking in. Okay, someone else? Setting aside.
I'm setting aside the quiet one and bringing in the rebel.
Beautiful. Great. And you may not even know, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, but just the first thing that comes to you, you're setting aside what? Just have a few more people do it.
I'm
I'm
setting
setting, oh,
aside, oh,
sorry.
sorry.
No,
I'm
go
setting
ahead.
aside the perfect sun, and I'm embracing myself or my I don't know, me.
Beautiful. How
Yeah,
much better do you want than that?
yeah.
Was there someone else?
Debbie.
Oh, yeah, I'll go. So I'm setting aside the depressed one on meds and embracing the creative artist.
Now, may I say how beautiful that is? And I want to thank you because, first of all, almost everyone in the world is on meds right now and are ashamed of it. right? Or don't want to talk about it, or don't want to. And the thing is like when I work with my clients who've been like hospitalized or something, or are hospital, it's like, okay, that's a role you're playing at the moment. Yeah, that's okay. And you're also a creative artist. You're also a beautiful soul. You're all, what are the alsos that you can take in? How powerful. So I think for time's sake, we probably need to stop, but let's just all take a deep breath and embrace all the parts of ourselves, all the roles we have had to play, the roles we still play. That's okay when we want to. That we all have a shadow side, which is a role too. We're allowed to be the bad one. Give yourself a little tap of acceptance, self-acceptance of all of that you are. And give everybody a hand for their honesty and openness. And I want to thank you so much for allowing me to be in this role at this moment, because it's a part of myself that I want to share. And I'm very grateful for that. In saying that, feel free, here's my little self-promotion, which is the role that I never did and I'm learning. Is my book, Stuck in a Role, talks a lot about this. You can get it on Amazon. It's cheaper. It's on Rutledge, but you can get it on Amazon. And then also, please look at my website, dramasol.com, because I do workshops all the time, and you can get LCATs can get CEs, and I'll be getting CEs for other people too. So I want to once again thank you so much, and thank each other, and turn it to Ping.
I want to thank you, Diana, for leading us through such a meaningful experience today. And I'd also like to extend our appreciation to you, our community, for your generous donations that enable us to continue to offer these free workshops, and to the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture, who help make our Hope series possible. And thank you all for joining us today.